Hello everyone. Earlier in the video we talked about ethnic identity, and now we're going to switch gears and talk a little bit about racial identity and kind of compare and contrast those two. So what exactly is racial identity? Well, race is a socially constructed idea which is based on the color of one's skin to assign categorization. And ideas of race are variable based on sociopolitical attitudes. So the ideas of race are going to change from place to place, from group to group. They're going to be different. They're always changing. And race is loosely based on the amount of melanin in one's skin. So we know that race is not supported by biology. There's no biologic evidence to really support race. So moving on to the next slide, what are the main differences between racial and ethnic identity? Well, we know that racial identity is primarily external. It focuses on physical appearances such as skin color, hair, things like that, whereas ethnic identity is based on cultural traits, so like language, religion, dress, or customs, things like that. Earlier in the video, we talked about some components of ethnic identity. We're just going to touch on a few more. So we know that ethnicity is a multidimensional construct, so it's made up of several different components. So earlier we talked about like values and beliefs. Some other ones listed here. We have evaluation. So I think we're actually going to talk about it in the next slide. So I'll just list them here. So evaluation, ethnic behaviors, importance and salience, and then ethnic identity and national identity. So kind of defining those a little bit more. In terms of evaluation, we want to constantly be evaluating our feelings, whether they're positive or negative, towards our ethnicity. So for example, maybe somebody is part of one group but has negative feelings towards it and would rather be part of a different ethnic group. It's totally okay to feel that way, and we should validate that by constantly evaluating the way that we feel. Moving on then to ethnic behaviors. So this one's pretty self-explanatory. It's just maybe speaking a certain language or eating a certain food, following a certain religion of that ethnicity. And then importance and salience. So this is a pretty wide variety across different groups. So in one of the articles that I had used, it was talking about how minority groups typically attribute more importance to their respective group than dominant groups do. So people in those minority groups might hold their ethnicity to a higher standard than the dominant groups do. And I also read that people who have like an overall more positive well-being have a higher valued importance of their ethnic identity. Okay, and then moving on to the last one, ethnic identity and national identity. So just analyzing the relationship between the ethnic and the national identity. So say that myself, I'm Italian, but I'm also American. So like recognizing, yes, like your ethnicity is Italian, but we live in America, so our nationality is American, and just kind of keeping those things in mind. Okay, so models of ethnic identity. I found these in an article that I came across, and I thought that they were just kind of good examples of ethnic identity. So I have 3 listed here. So there's one, Garrett and Walking Stick Garrett, described a Native American identity. So something that's pretty typical in the Native American culture is that elders are kind of regarded as resources and are used as a guide to kind of steer people in a certain direction in life, as they have more developed wisdom. They've been around longer, they've seen more things, experienced more life, so they're regarded as pretty high up. The next one, Cats and white, quote unquote, white ethnicity identity. So she came up with 15 different values or perspectives of white American cultural identity. such as like valuing reward, independence, and autonomy. And it was stated that having certain perspectives like this can obscure the connection to a shared culture. So to be careful of that. And then the last one that I have listed here, Finney, the model applicable to all ethnic groups. So this can be applicable to anyone. And it was stated that individuals should resolve 2 conflicts that result from their membership in a non-dominant group. So they gave 2 examples of that. So resolving stereotyping of white population to a non-dominant group, and then resolving a clash of systems between dominant and non-dominant group members. Okay, also for part of this project, I conducted an interview. That was one of the suggested activities. So I interviewed a first-generation immigrant from Ireland and was able to find out a lot of information on her ethnic identity. She talked a lot about her religion, which we learned is a very pretty prominent feature of ethnic identity. So she valued that pretty close to her. Another thing that she talked about was like comparisons and contrasts between America and Ireland. So kind of just comparing like customs that they have here and things that they have back in Ireland. And she had said that like she didn't realize how much she appreciated like the Irish culture until she like went back there after living in America for so many years. And then she also talked a lot about cultures that she still follows today. So just a lot of different Irish cultures, like a lot of like holiday customs that she would follow that she still adheres to today. So those are the factors that are highlighted in the interview. Okay, and then just in conclusion, in this presentation, we learned that ethnic and racial identity are 2 different concepts that can be easily misunderstood. Some people may use the terms ethnicity and race interchangeably, but we now know that they are 2 different things and they should not be used that way. Ethnic identity is multidimensional. We learned about all those different subcategories of it. There are many benefits of developing an ethnic identity for ourselves and for other people as well. And much information in ethnic development can occur from talking to individuals from different ethnicities and visiting different ethnic events. And then here are just some sources.